Hello, hello, and welcome to the Rise of the Womb Oracle Summit. I am your host, Athena Sai. I am an oracle and a wisdom keeper of the Blue Rose. And today I am so excited for my soul sister, ChristianeAnna, to be with us today to share her medicine as a womb wisdom keeper. So a little bit about her is she is a #1 international best-selling author of Women with Healing Gifts. Her formal education for several decades was founded in medicine and science. She has produced and hosted her own local TV show, engaging the audience in spirituality and women's empowerment through her native teachings for modern times. She is the ambassador of a Humanitarian Promotions Organization called Global Love Music that spreads the Aloha Spirit globally. She is the founder of Yoni Rising Healing, which is devoted to sacred technology of her ancestors' womb mandala healings. She teaches workshops globally on conscious sacred sexuality, conscious birthing, and rites of passage through ritual ceremony. And currently, she is building a sanctuary on Hamakua coast of Big Island known as Breath of God. Welcome, welcome.
Oh, darling. Oh, this is the most comfortable place for me to be, talking about all of this goodness and all the love that's here right now for us in sisterhood, and here with you feels really comforting and very timely. So thank you so much for having me and then sending the invitation. Thank you.
Yes, you're so welcome. And just to give a little bit of background, I actually met you through my stepsister Anna. She was like, you should find her and you should connect with her, because I was in a situation where I had made the choice to separate from my husband of 15 years. And, we chose to still stay together until we could financially separate. So I was living with my ex in separate rooms, but it was this process of trying to hold it together, and I was protecting myself so fiercely, and I was, trying to keep it sane for the children. And it was a hard time for me. And so I realized when he finally moved out, like I needed to do more work. And I had already been kind of initiated just through spirit with working with Isis. And, the message for the last few years has always been about you're a womb healer. And they would show me, they would bring in these healing modalities that I had used for lifetimes. And, training as a priestess of Isis in past lifetimes. And so I was starting to do this womb healing work on myself. And that kind of like catapulted me into the path of the priestess, the path of the rose, the ancient mysteries, and also, how spirit initiates us. Even if I didn't have like a blood lineage to that, my soul did. And so it was like this calling. And so I had started talking about it, and I had started doing some work with friends and having some clients and doing some of that deeper ancestral work with them through the womb, through those pathways. And that's when my stepsister was like, she was seeing my posts and she was like, you need to reach out to her. I think you guys would connect. And literally I saw like 2 of your posts. You were offering a free, or maybe it was a paid, I'm not even sure, like little group call, and I just jumped on. I had no idea what to expect. And you led us into our womb temple, where I had a whole nother release. But not only that, but it was like the first time I actually spoke like what I was feeling. And I cried. I think I cried during your session. I was like, oh, I don't know anybody, but here I am. But it started me on a deeper path. And then also that being able to just like express without like any judgment or even trying to fix it, right? Just like presence and being like, we hear you, we see you. And so your container really did help me go even deeper into a whole other level. So I just want to say thank you. I don't know if I've ever told you that story, but you helped me just in that, 90-minute session, move through almost lifetimes. So I honor you.
And I you, sister. Wow. Yeah, I love when we get together and the first thing we do is shed those tears and move that energy and allow those key codes of our tears to just be and move us in beautiful ways that sometimes no other thing can do for us. Is those tears of gratitude and so much love. What I'm hearing first and foremost is how we're weaving in another sister by the name of Anna. I always want to call her, Anna Sophia. Beautiful, right? And that we have sisters that have our back and they see us sometimes even before we see ourselves. And no, I did not know that whole story. I had already seen you as a womb keeper. When I met you, I already felt that and felt that our connection was to continue the weaving, which is what we were doing. And I didn't know the backstory. I just knew a little bit of that. And what it's doing for me in this moment is helping me to understand how important it is to use our voice and to speak our truth out into the world, because those were times even 10 years ago where no one knew what do you mean a womb keeper? What do you do? I'm not understanding. What are you talking about sacred sexuality? What is all of this, And Spirit just continued to push me to speak to it. Because it comes from my lineage. My mother is Chichimeca lineage from Mexico, from the pyramids, the Aztec bloodline that runs through me, and our wisdom that comes through us is from the portal of the cosmic womb. It's a direct connection. And then here I am on the volcano of Hawaii, living on Big Island in between two erupting volcanoes that are constantly shaking the earth. And here it is, my voice is constantly saying, like, use your voice. And this is what we need to be thinking about. All of our, our initiations come from these places within, and then the outside world shows us, wow, what's really happening within our own temples. So when I met you, I could already see your sacred temple. I could already feel you and your presence and the medicine that you were holding. And there was this convoluted energy around you. And that's what the womb will do. It'll take you right to your center. It'll ground you right onto your throne. It will say, hey, I see you. And your wisdom and your medicine, whether in, your lineage, through this timeline here on this planet or other timelines, really, to me, it doesn't matter if it comes through the lineage of your family's own history here and your ancestors or your spiritual ancestors. I really do feel that way. If you're tapped into that wisdom and that energy and you're being asked to speak to it and to see it, then we reach out to one another as sisters. What can we do to clear the energy around us that isn't promoting that medicine that wants to be seen and spoken to and felt? And so I really did see you. And now I know more of that story. And the stories we carry as women can be really intense. Really, really intense. And we don't need to be carrying those stories alone. One of my mentors, Dr. Clarissa Pincoli Estes, who wrote Women Who Run with Wolves, right? Oh, I think that's how Anna and I actually connected too, through those stories. I mean, wow, what a beautiful mentor, and speaking truth to all our stories are other women's stories. Other women's stories are our stories. And when we speak it, an energy moves. There's a softening, there's a connection. And it's not just through the heart, it's through the womb connection and the heart connection, and it's an activation. So when we come together, we're activating and we're moving those energies and key codes to unlock more of ourselves and unlock more of what we see in each other, to say, I see you. Yes, share your medicine. It's needed right now. We are needed right now. The wisdom keepers on this planet are being beckoned forth. There is a clarion call, a clarion call to show up and look to your left and look to your right and see who's standing there, and the sisters behind you too. They're here. We're not alone.
Goosebumps. I felt all of their presence. And it's like our ancient future. Like, it's our ancient selves that are reminding us of it now in this, we're remembering so many of our past lives, our, lineages, our ancestors, our spirit helpers. Like, we're remembering so much, but yet, like, we've already done this and we are going to do this again. And so it's just like, I just keep hearing the ancient past, or the ancient future. And so it's like we are weaving this. And I do believe that, there's certain people that come into your life, your soul family, whether they stay for the entire life or they're there for a moment and go. It's like blessing them for their journeys, like we kind of talked about a little bit before the call, blessing them and where they're at, and knowing that, we have to remain true to ourselves and honor ourselves and share the teachings that are given to us. And I think that was one of my hesitations, because like, I don't really know my family very well. My parents were like the black sheep a little bit, and my extended family don't talk to me because of my spirituality and because they're very religious. And so I never really connected so much to them. And so there's a part of me that like didn't want to share, one, because of judgment, but two, because like, well, it's not my blood. Like, why, spirit's coming to me, initiating me. And there's so much dogma, I think, around that. Like, you need to be initiated by an actual priestess. You need to, do this or that. And it kind of I got into my head about it, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, and then I finally really dropped in. And, especially after my ex-husband moved out, that it was like, then I really started diving deeper into the medicine, and how I was being guided was through the goddess. I mean, that's how I learned how to do all of the things, is through my own DNA, through my own body. But the goddess was always there, kind of whispering to me and helping me, showing me what to do, or, giving me little ideas. And so I think, where do you feel like, how do I want to say this? There's a couple pieces that are jumping out at me. My mind is like, so
I love it. Let's go for it.
Yeah, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to, when did you really hear the call of the goddess? Was it through your family line, like you said you had connections, or was it something that was more like spirit initiation, or a combination?
I feel it was a combination, because I really do not remember a time when the goddess wasn't with me. I just felt like I was the goddess. And I felt, Venus in particular, and also born with that star. I always felt that energy of Venus, and then the draw to Isis. And so, although I didn't know it as a young girl, the actual words, the feeling was there, the energy of love and what's possible, and always feeling into my belly and always touching my belly at first, because I felt I was a little self-conscious about my round belly. And then I heard, your belly is beautiful. All the power comes from that space. And I remember as a young girl thinking, at first comparing myself to others. And then I could hear spirit. I didn't know what it was, that I could feel the universe and nature. Specifically, when I was in nature, I could hear, you're much more powerful than you know yet. It wasn't until later on, probably, well, it was after my son's birth, that I actually heard more about the lineage, my own family lineage that was going to start weaving into my spiritual sacred path that I was already on. And it was the initiation of my son within my belly, within my womb, that was already talking to me. He was already telling me the path that was going to come before us, the two of us. So it was a combination of both. And I really love that we're speaking to this, because I feel that there needs to be a dispelling around how one is initiated into priestess, because we're hearing so much about it. And also why we're hearing more about the womb now, whereas maybe we didn't hear so much about it. I started speaking to it back in 2012, and people were like, what are you talking about? And I said, really, it's been here from the beginning of time. I'm talking about the universe, about the cosmic womb, about this portal from where all life comes from. And then it comes through who? It comes through those that identify with a womb and have a womb. That energy comes through in its physicality, but it also comes through all humans. All energy comes through that space. We speak of, many cultures speak of the hara, so we can direct that towards the men. So I've never really said men, women, or got all mixed up in the gender with that. Just speaking for the work that I've brought forward, I've said this work is for all humans. All humans. But specifically, I know we're speaking to women right now, that we have the ability to birth life. And so that said something to me, because I didn't really want to be a mother as a young girl, but I still kept birthing creations. I was birthing art projects and birthing music and birthing writings, and I was birthing dancing and the way I would cook and the way I would show up in my adornments. And so I was still birthing myself, and knowing that that was coming from, oh, that's from my belly as a young girl. Like, oh, that's from that space. That's from my gut. Something's not feeling right. Oh, I can feel it in my gut. So early on, I knew it intuitively there was something there for me. Until then, I had the tangible, like, knowledge and words to put to it. Then it really started forming itself, and then it was like the big aha for me, because I the universe put an elder from my Chichimeka lineage in my pathway. And then I was truly initiated for several years from this shaman from Mexico. And we did some deep diving work around my lineage, around caring for the womb, caring for the Yoni. And that's how that unfolded. It's been a journey.
Yeah, I love so much of how that you just innately knew. And like you said, even if you didn't have words, like, because as I look back and as you say that, and I actually never really thought about this, but I remember before school would start, like, it was like, the first day of school, I would like be like, this is who I'm going to be this year. And I would like full on express whatever that was. Like, I had journals and journals of fashion design and, music and dance and all of that. So I can relate to that and how I dressed. And, I was totally funky and mismatched and I loved it. And now that you said that, it's like, oh, I didn't recognize that. And I was the same way. I never really actually wanted to have children. I waited to have children until finally I got that message. It was like, it was time. And there are children that are ready. And I was like, okay. I didn't speak to them yet because I wasn't fully awake or really tapped into my gifts like I am now. But I was having dreams, a lot of serpent energies, that kind of cave serpents, like that kind of energy coming forward, especially with my daughter. And so yeah, you saying that just kind of sparked something in me, like, oh yeah, I've always been a creator. I've always had those ideas. So thank you for bringing that back into my awareness and my memory.
Oh, thank you. I really do love it because this is something that I've been speaking to for some time, probably about a decade, how vital it is to honor our maiden and honor the maiden within us as well. The one that was so creative and wasn't yet in her mind space, but really in her belly and her heart about creating things and going out and making fairy gardens and going out and being very creative with all, like we said, with our dress, our adornment. It's intuitively within us. And so that's what the womb is asking of us all to remember what perhaps we have forgotten and to go deep into the spiral of the womb that has different gateways and asks us to open up those gateways and to peer in. And when you're ready, initiate yourself onto the other side as a rite of passage. And when we have this understanding and this knowledge that we may even obtain from other sisters or being channeled or directed to sisters, other sisters that have this wisdom, then we continue to pass that along. And this is why we have our red tents and our purple tents, and why we initiate ourselves from the maiden to the crone and everything in between and beyond. And it really allows us to go deeper into this cosmic space that we can feel within us as women in various ways, from orgasmic birth to beautiful orgasms that there's a million and one ways, and as there are stars. So it's really taking that power back into our body by alleviating the chaos and all those things that aren't here to promote us to be in our elevated space of facing our north direction and knowing why we are here ourselves and tap into that medicine. So the womb is very powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful, right? And the men and the patriarchal that is, I do believe it's dying off, and I do believe we've stepped into this new world, and there's this liminal space. You and I spoke about that a couple of weeks ago, this liminal space between the here, the past, present, and future. Here now is what I say. Past, present, and future are here now. We're creating this, and yet we're still in that trying to figure out, okay, what are we bringing into the new world? And oftentimes that doesn't include people, places, and things that we thought. And so again, it's not for the faint of heart. This work is not for the faint of heart, Athena. You and I know this. And so it isn't, of course, there's going to be places of alchemy. It takes fire. It takes fire and it takes water to anoint ourselves to keep going, no matter what, no matter what. And that's not always easy, having these human experiences on this planet. Because often, I don't know about you, often I think I came on call, like I think I came from Lemurian. I was floating on my back or something before I entered call and with tears. And so there's a lot of timelines that we're weaving in together to create a new world.
And I love that. And I know that you are on, the islands of Hawaii, and you talked about Lemuria. And I just, again, want to just throw in the synchronicities. Is this morning I had past life memories of Lemuria, and I know I've been part of it. And I also know where there was some friction, and there was some healing that I need to do. And something that actually came up this morning as I was journeying with lavender oil. I was just, anointing myself and journeying and seeing what needed to be cleared. And that timeline came back up again. But it was deeper. It was like how our past in Lemuria is also here. It's like we're so multidimensional. And so those lessons from then, I had one level of it, about 4 years ago. And now there's like another deeper level of what happened, and how, for me, it was like plant medicine, and I always joke, I'm like, I cannot garden, I cannot keep a plant alive for anything, but yet I can always tap into the spirit essence And that goes all the way back to my Lemurian and even into my Atlantean energies that I can remember, like how I taught people not to cut the plants, not to dig the crystals. We could use our essence, the energy, we could connect, we could commune. And it was like, even going into like breatharianism and like how we were high off spirit, like we didn't have to eat very much. And if it was like a conversation with the plant, like, hey, are you okay with me taking this leaf today? Like, I just need a little bit of sustenance. So it was weird, like you bringing up that, and you, of course, being on Hawaii, that memory, of course, came forward just from smelling some oils.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That actually reminds me of the oils of the priestess within the sacred temples. It's within the behind the gates of that sacred temple. We honored our various medicines, whether it was of the oils or if it was of the plant medicine, or if we were the sacred dancer or the priestess of sacred sexuality. Many various ways that the power that we hold as priestesses, even for myself, I can speak for myself, to take the war out of the man, after coming back from war, and being able to do that with all of the ways we tend to ourselves and tend to, whether we have a womb or not, we're still on a cycle. And we understand when we're able to intuitively tap into that portal, our own rhythms and cycles. And we know, like, oh, the lavender needs to be used now, or the holy basil, or the rose petals or the rose oil, whatever is being called, we intuitively know that, and that's very powerful. We see as a mother, if you hear a certain cry, you know what kind of even cry that is. A baby's hungry, or baby needs to be changed, or so this intuitive power that we hold, not just in one arena of our life. I can say it's a sweeping statement when you allow it to be. It's going to guide you. The womb is that powerful, where she can direct you towards your North Star, your North direction, and show you, like, okay, you may not be good with plants right now, but there was a time that you were. You may not remember Lemuria, but when you walk on this particular trail, the King's Trail on the Hamakua coast, and all of a sudden you're getting goosebumps and wondering what's happening, it's because, oh, you remember a time and space where you were diving deep with the whales, with the orca. You remember the sounds, so the womb will take you on that deep spiral, as far down as far up, and wide. It's infinite spaciousness, and very powerful, and to be honored and held in sacredness. So we know that many have wanted to destroy and kill us because of that. We've spoken to that as well. We've been beheaded, we've been hung, we've been, stoned in the village. There's been many dragged through the village, babies taken away from us. And some of us are still living those stories here now. And so what I'm saying outwardly is that you have the power to.
Oh, I think he just,
There we go. We have the power to come into our sacred temple and to clear those energies, to create a direction towards ourselves, towards home. And so to any of the sisters, brothers listening to this, you do have that wisdom held at the center of yourself, to understand that you have so many tangible things and so many energetic places within you to tap into this wisdom. Whether you're in a relationship, as you were talking about, Athena, when we first met, that wasn't for your highest good in that moment any longer. And all the questions that come with it. How am I going to do this? What am I going to do? And yet Spirit was saying, hey, look at all these, look at this beautiful medicine basket and all these things that you are, that's going to assist you on your journey. And that, I believe, has come from our womb space, came from your womb space. You birthed yourself anew. And that doesn't always look pretty. Death is involved with that. Death and rebirth. And we know this as women. Every month we go through this with our blood moon. And so it's very powerful. And there's people that want that power, want to kill off the feminine for it. We know it. And so that's why we're having to raise our voices now. This is what we're doing. We're coming together to raise our voices and stand in unison together to say no more. We're done. We're complete with that. We're initiating ourselves into this new time and space, and we're going deeper, and we're going to keep going. Our voices are being heard. As you said, it started as a whisper, and I've said that too. It starts as a whisper. Before you know it, we're roaring, and we're roaring right through Mary Magdalene into the Lion's Gate. We're roaring.
We absolutely are. And I love that. And I think, you know, also when we have the sisterhood, it's that bond. It's, we're not doing this alone. And so there is an importance to, yes, there is a time for solitude. Yes, there is a time when you have to tend to yourself. And there's also that time of opening. And I just feel the energy is opening, you know, and this time period, why I chose this is because Mary Magdalene led me to it. And every time the 22nd through the 26th, 27th is like that portal of literally what I'm always guided with is it's where the waters of Cancer and the fire of Leo, where they merge and they create steam, right? And so it's that literal alchemical space where what are you ready to shift through? What are you ready to move through? What are you ready to release? But also, what are you ready to dream of? What do you really want to create in this next, you know, half of the year, like, or beyond, and start dreaming those dreams and you know, reaching out and helping each other along the way, I think is so important.
Yeah, I know I couldn't do it without you today, even before call. You know, we need each other, and it's all in the receiving frequency. So the feminine essence within is asking us to receive what's here now. And many have not understood that, especially as women, we are very much intuitively givers and nurturers. And so to receive is really vital so that energy continues to flow. It flows, you know, it's important to have that spiral to go deeper into our own sacred space. And so receiving the love from your sisters who are able to witness you and speak truth and to raise you up. Again, I say it's together we rise. And that wasn't something I did for a long time. I was in the corporate world for a good 20 years plus in science and medicine. And although working with midwives and OBGYNs and internal medicine, I was very much like, you know, very driven, very much in my masculine, very comfortable with my masculine and leadership and visionary. And to come into my feminine was something I would do just occasionally when I'd go out or, you know, with a lover. And now I really embrace that. And living on this island, you can't help it with fresh flowers in your hair and and love and just the energy all around. It's really assisted with this alchemy of coming into balance with both essences so that we can live our truth and be of support to one another as sisters, to be cheer each other on, like I see you. Go for it while honoring our ancestral lineage, whatever that lineage is. Wherever you feel tapped into that lineage, speak to it, weave it into the picture, weave it into the tapestry so that it can be seen. So again, it's not so much how we were initiated, whether through our ancestors here now or from another, our soul family. Honor it by speaking the truth and using our voices, like this summit, which is so beautiful. I'm just like blown away. You put this all together. So honored to be sitting on a panel of like amazing sisters that are sharing their medicine in the world. I feel so honored to be here with you.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, that's the whole thing about this creation, because I had been feeling, as a single parent, like there's obstacles, and my business hasn't been great, honestly. And so it's like I was so I was thinking about things all wrong. And like, so finally I was like, what is it that I really want to do? What's lighting me up? What's turning me on? And I'm like, I want to talk to other people who love this stuff.
Oh my
And so,
God, thank
and
you for that.
yeah, and I was like, I just want to talk. I want to talk. I want to have fun. Like I'm quirky. I stumble on my words, like I said earlier. Like this is who I am, and this is what I just had this. It was like this internal drive. There's something deeper that I wanted, and it was like, sometimes I still find myself looking outwardly, and I'm like, wait, okay, I see it, and then it's like, come back in. And when I finally came back in, it was like, just create your own summit. Just do it.
Wow.
And
I
so,
did not know that backstory. That's wow, that's really beautiful. I just felt like you took the veil off. Like you're just like, okay, here I am, like
yeah,
all of me. I'm going to show up in all of the ways that I am. And that's really the authentic. I'm learning from you in this moment as well with that. I'm really grateful to hear you sharing that story about how this birthed itself. Like this, you birthed this baby into your creation because that's what you needed and you knew others could benefit from it. And I know I certainly am. And I'm grateful that I'm able to share the work that comes through, as a wisdom keeper of the womb and weave it into this creation that you saw that needed to be brought forth for your own work and your own lineage and your children. I love it. I love how you just shared that, how that came about.
yeah, it was just one of those things. It's like, do it. And you want to hear the even craziest thing? This is when you've grown and you can trust and surrender a little bit more into that goddess energy. I don't know how to do email campaigns or email marketing. I rarely send emails out, and I'm learning it all as I'm doing this. Brand new email system, everything. And I'm like, I don't care. We're going to figure this out.
I
Here
love
I
it.
am.
Yes. Okay, this is so great. And I know we're on a time limit. This is what's coming through right now.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is to know that's okay. Oh, I'm so excited. The gestation of a birth. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what we're doing really, especially our first pregnancy. And especially if you were a woman who wasn't really like keen on, being a mother. I'm right there too. I was like, no, I don't want children. I have just one son. I'm like, so during that whole process, you just do okay, I'm going to learn. I'm just going to learn as I go. And that's the power of an embodied woman when it comes to the wisdom that she holds within her cauldron, within her medicine basket of her womb. You may not know the answers, but you're going to learn as you go because it's trusting the unseen. It's trusting the unknown. Living in those places of the unseen and the unknown, you can never unsee an unknown again. You just can't. Once that portal shows you truth, there's no unseen truth anymore. You just know, like, oh, I'm capable. I can do this. Even if I had to learn in the moment as I was moving along and not knowing what's happening, I'm still learning.
And I
It's,
think
it's amazing.
people don't speak of that very often. It's like, oh, like you go from A to Z 1000, and it's like, but what's the process look like? Like, and it's just trusting. It is. It's like, you know what? Everything is figure outable. I'm just gonna do it. And actually, it's been kind of fun figuring it out. So I'm so happy that you said that and mentioned that. Because yeah, I think it is, it's just trusting. It's trusting what wants to be delivered, how it wants to be delivered, and just figuring it out. And I did have to reach out to a sister and be like, hey, do you know anything about this? Can you help me? And she kind of directed me this couple places to look at, and here we are. Oh, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Hold on a second. I don't think your mic is, can you speak? It's muted. Okay, try now.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Okay. I was like,
wait. Okay, I think I hear you better now. Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, not really good, but I can still hear you. And you also, I have to remember here on this island, I mean, earthquakes and technology and all of this is also part of these various extensions of us as humans. It's a whole tech world, the tech entities. It's like really like weaving that in sometimes can be a little bit tricky with all these Zooms and tech world. So yeah, I think I can.
Real life.
There we go. We hearing you a little bit better. Yeah, real life. So I love that people are going to see our realness and being able to be in our body. And I think that's what I know that's what I relate to whenever I see someone like, oh, I can relate to it. She's real. I'm nerdy, I'm quirky, I'm silly, I'm fun, just being very real with something that can be a very serious topic can also be very lighthearted and know that this is part of the our spiritual experience in human bodies. Knowing what it is to be a human in these bodies.
And I like to say, like, sometimes you just have to laugh at yourself. Like, you're in the middle of it and you're just like, I have no idea. Like, what are you doing? Just start laughing. Seriously, it clears the energy. It's the best medicine. We don't have to be so serious as we do this work. Like, we're here to have fun. We're here to find that joy and pleasure and what's turning us on. And that's how we're birthing, right? Is through those pleasure, no longer through the lack and the fear, but through like our open heartedness and through our goodness, all of that. That's what I want for our future. That's how I want to create. And so yes. I'm glad you're here with us doing it.
Me too, because often I see us dancing naked under a full moon.
I love it.
Yeah, enjoying the pleasure and the joy of all that's here for us as well. It doesn't have to be so serious. Yes, the work is serious. Yes, the work is honorable and sacred. And I know I'm in devotion to it. It's my devotional path. I don't know any other way. It is the way for me. And anytime I stray from it, I know, and it happens, and then I get right back. It's not straying, it's how fast I come back to my center. And I tell that to my clients as well. Like, this is definitely a birthing process. And so to be gentle in moments and lots of times needing to rest when moving through the wisdom that's held at this portal, and allowing it to settle in and to transmute or alchemize whatever's being asked of you. Listen deeply to your inner voice. She won't steer you wrong. She won't steer you wrong. She just won't. She is there for you and she will guide you when it doesn't even make sense. That's when you're going to see the magic. There's so much magic that can be unveiled, and just things that you could never think possible can happen.
And it's trusting yourself. It's trusting and believing in the messages that your body and your intuition is bringing forward. Because I think sometimes we're like, did I really hear that? Like, can you show me like 17,000 signs so that I believe it? and that's just a journey of really trusting ourselves and taking the step into the unknown.
Yeah, the unknown is where I feel most comfortable. It really is. I've come
I'm
to
not
learn
quite
that.
I'm not quite there yet. I'm I'm
I'm
on I'm on I'm right on the edge. I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little bit better at this. It's like tiptoeing. I'm getting a little bit better at being, yeah, it's happening
yeah,
in its own time. So
absolutely. It's being the edge walker, right? The edge walker. So that definitely is a thing, and to honor where we are in all parts of the journey for certain. Yeah, honoring each step of the way and each gateway that we walk through. That's a big piece too. The beauty of it is that this work with the womb takes us into the sacred sexuality of honoring ourselves and knowing that it is vital for us to feel pleasure and joy and happiness and to weave that into the tapestry as well. That's our definitely that's our right as humans. Yeah, that's our birthright here to enjoy all that's here for us. Yeah.
absolutely. So I know we're getting close to time, but I just have a couple questions, maybe one question. I mean, we talk so much about this, but the summit is called the Womb Oracle. So when you think of that term, what does it stir within you?
Mhm. Scrolls and key codes. Let's go there. Scrolls and key codes. I just saw myself drop right into my pelvic bowl, um, energetically into my own temple, and saw myself pull back the velvet curtain and go deep into the inner sanctuary where only the divine and me reside. And to be able to pull down those scrolls and to read my story and to unlock what's here for me. Um, I have that power within, and I feel that every single human as well does. We're writing our own stories. And so that's really what it reminds me. It's a reminder that I hold that wisdom within. And so therefore I want to be the keeper of that wisdom. How do I hold that in sanctuary and in its sanctity? And that's really very powerful for me. And that's where, then that's where my voice goes down and I'm speaking right from the womb space and delivering the message, which is very clear, and where I tend to myself and I nourish myself and I nurture what I am, yeah, what I've planted here in this space, the seeds that have been planted. And so that's where I'm in devotion to the work that I'm doing for myself and sharing with others and how I hear people's lives change. I'm not changing them. I'm showing them that you can change it within, that you are your own oracle, that you hold the key codes. So that's what came up.
That is delicious. Like I was there with you, like peeling back the curtain, like and the
Reading.
golden keys, like written, the golden energy. I could see, feel all of that. Yeah, and that's it's really for me. It feels like that embodiment of the divine. Really, it's and
Mhm.
delivering with more clarity, with more love, and even with more passion. Right. Um, that's what it feels like to me as well. So, if you had a message for humanity, as
Mhm.
there's so many people going through so much, there's still a lot of suffering on the planet. There's also a lot of happiness that's happening on the planet. If you had a message for humanity at this time, what would it be?
Mm. Yeah, I continue to hear past, present, and future here now. The past, present, and future are happening here in this moment now. And you can do a lot with that. You know, yeah, keep it really simple. By staying in the moment, it really gets simple. We as humans complicate it. And that vibration is love. And that vibration is one of the highest frequencies, right, on this planet. And that love can shift many, many things. So stay in a place of love, past, present, and future here now.
I love that so much. And the simplicity, it really makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep it simple, man. I know, because I can complicate things. It's the mind. So by staying in the womb heart, you listen to your inner guidance and truth, and it usually is only one word for me, and it's love. Yeah, love wins today.
Yeah. Oh. So what are you currently working on, and how can people connect with you?
Oh, wow. Okay, well, thank you. I'm working on my next international best-selling book. It's coming out July 31st. It's called Get Shit Done. And it just is, again, it's a collaboration with, I think, 22 other women. And that's what's coming out soon. And then the next thing is another book coming out in October called The Mind-Body Connection. And then I am going to be planting seeds of a retreat here in Hawaii for the sisters that have done work with me. Somewhat of like passing the torch right now, passing the torch and allowing that next generation of priestesses to actually share. And so that's what's happening right now. Deeper integration. People can reach me. I'm really simple. I am, when it comes to reaching out to me, and Spirit's asking me to do a little bit more right now, it is Facebook, under my name, ChristianeAnna Rodriguez, and then Instagram, Yoni Rising. That's the name of my business, Yoni Rising. So yeah, I'm being asked the writing. So I think the scrolls and the key codes are really here right now. Writing's really my creation in this moment. So you can read a little bit of my story in my first book, Women with Healing Gifts. And yeah, that's about it for now.
I love that. And I will post all of that. So you guys check out the description of the video. I'll have all of her contact information as well as in the email. So definitely reach out to her. And I can't wait to see and celebrate with you as all of these book launches are coming out, because I think it's so exciting when we can do that. It is, being an author and being able to share your story with written word is transformational. It is so transformational.
It has been, definitely. Talk about transparency. Talk about just no veil. It's like, here you go. Here it is. So thank you so much, darling. I just adore you. I love you. Thank you for doing you, shining your bright light for the summit, for the ease of this conversation, which is really what I was calling in.
Well, I'm so happy that we have been weaving and we'll continue to weave. And I know that Hawaii is calling to me just in the perfect time. So I will definitely be reaching out to you and being like, hey, let's
retreat time.
Yeah. So I just want to say thank you so much. And we'll chat soon. Bye, everybody.
Love you. Aloha.